All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. Today, I have the Google Pixel 9 XL, the 9 Pro XL, and we're going to talk about the obvious dislike for me because this phone is so great. A lot of people are a fan of the larger devices, and I am too, but a daily driver for me has to be pocketable. It has to be something that's easy on the pocket. And when it comes to buying these larger devices like this, that's something that you sacrifice. You are going to sacrifice size, comfort, feel in your pocket. So some dislikes about this device right off the rip, it's definitely going to be the size. Now, obviously, you're going to say, well, Jay, you bought the 9 and you bought the Pro as well. I do have the 9 Pro. That will officially replace this as my daily driver. And I'll be carrying two smaller devices along with a foldable for the other device. And then I also have the largest device I have at the moment, I think is the device I'm recording with as far as like slab style, and it is the S24 Ultra. That is a good device, but this device feels better than the S24 Ultra. But ultimately, you know, the S24 Ultra kind of trumps this phone in a lot of ways. But nonetheless, this is about the 9 Pro XL. The 9 Pro XL is a beautiful device. However, I am happy to report that I do have the option to pay for a smaller variant with the same functionality. And that's ultimately what I did by buying the 9 Pro as well. On the 9 Pro XL, you know, if you're going to say, well, why'd you buy it if you knew you didn't like larger phones? Well, I do like larger phones, but not to daily drive, like full throttle. This is a phone that I'm grabbing when I run out of the house. It's my primary phone number is on this phone. I think I've just gotten accustomed to the smaller sizes, and with real world usage, like if I'm at the gym or I'm going for a walk outside, just anything you could think of to where I just want to throw the phone in my pocket, and I don't have a backpack with me at the time, it's got to be a smaller form factor. It just has to be a smaller form factor, and that's just what I prefer. Now, that is a dislike for me and a con for me, but it's not really a con per se because, you know, regularly driving this phone, for me, I just think the larger the screens, you know, the 6.9, when you think about it, the Pro model is 6.3. That's still really big. And if this is your only phone, you will pick a phone. Like if I had to choose between the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro XL, I'm going with the 9 Pro because I feel like the screen is big enough. I think it's big. It's a large display, and it's well put together. It has all the functionality of this phone. It's just smaller. Now, when it comes to battery life, this phone also has settled down, and it's not as good as I feel it should be. For the battery size that's in here, and it's strange because it comes down to optimization too. I feel like this phone should be optimized a lot better. Again, when I compare it to my S24 Ultra, and when I compared it to my S23, my S24 Plus, you know, I think this is probably one of the best comparisons just based on the way it looks and feels and everything. But you know, it doesn't have better battery than the S24 Plus, and it definitely doesn't have better battery than the S24 Ultra. And it's a shame because this phone doesn't have a lot of overlays and skins and a bunch of different things. It's just a stock experience that you would want to get. But battery life always depends on the user. So some of you guys are going to say, well, I got 9 hours of screen on time, but you didn't make it through a full day without charging with that 9 hours of screen on time. You had to charge at some point or another to get that 9 hours of screen on time. So you can have 10 hours of screen on time, but you can also only have 14 hours of actual battery usage. So you can possibly get 10 hours of screen on time out of this device, but you're not going to get 36 hours off the charger or 24 hours off the charger. It's not going to happen. Well, I shouldn't be so firm and say it's not going to happen. I haven't seen it happen yet. I haven't seen anyone report that they made it through 24 hours, like a 24-hour day, and got 10 hours of screen on time with this phone. I just haven't seen that, and I don't think that it's possible. And it's a shock to me because of how well put together this phone is and how good it's optimized. The battery life just still isn't there. So what would be to blame for that? I know what everyone's going to say in the comment section. It's the Tensor chip. I know that's what you're going to say. Those are the comments that I get when it comes to Google phones. People instantly think the Tensor chip is not good, and that's simply just not true. But, Google has done, look at this. Let's go here. You've got 8K recording. They've given it all the things that all the other flagships per se have. It's got even more. You got the video boost. You got a bunch of things in here that make this a high-end device. But I think the more and more, folks, I've been doing smartphone reviews for been on YouTube for going on 20 years, been doing smartphone reviews for almost 16 of that. And maybe 15, we'll cap it at 15. Between 15 and 16, 17 years of doing smartphone reviews, I have experienced a lot of smartphones. And I just don't see how we've gotten to this point, still at this point, to where you can't get the optimum battery out of these phones with these big batteries. So if you're going to say the Tensor chip, I can't fight you on that one, man. I really can't. I can't fight you. When I had this phone, when I didn't have it at full resolution, when I had it right here, oh yeah, I was able to pull 36 hours with roughly 7 hours of screen on time. But why would I want to use it that way? I mean, I guess I could, if I just wanted to save battery, I could turn on battery saver and turn it down to high resolution, and I would get some good battery more than likely. But to me, you're spending a lot of money on these phones. Why not push it to the limits? Why not get all that you can? It's like you're buying a car that's, they tell you that it's going to go 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds, and you want to put 87 octane in the tank, and you want to daily drive a sports car with 87 octane in the tank, when you should be putting 93 at least, to get that full power out of the car. You see, so I don't see the point of using this phone not at full resolution for a user like me. I want to see the best display. I just want to see it at its best all the time. And this phone should be optimized much better for battery than it is. So is it the Tensor chip? I don't know. I just know that my usage, I can make it through a full day, but I have to charge. Like if I'm going to go somewhere, I don't charge my phones unless they need to be charged. Just to be clear here, I don't charge them unless they need to be charged. So when I have a phone, once it gets to like 20%, then I put it on the charger. So, for me, it's still, I still have to charge in the same, now I have to charge within the 24-hour period. So I can make it like 20 some odd hours before I feel like I just really need to charge or whatever. Like if I'm going to be out for a little bit of time, I'm like, I better put this on the charger for a few minutes. Now I have wireless charging in my car. I have fast wireless charging in my car. So yeah, I could do it in the car, but I'd rather just plug in. And I can also plug in my car. I have fast charging to plug in the car. So I'm always around a charger per se, but I just don't like to live on the charger. And am I being critical? Sure I am. I mean, I can make it through a full day, but I'm not getting like this stellar, battery that I could possibly get. So take a look. So an hour and a half there, an hour there. And if you're going to say, well, you're not using it. Yeah, I'm using it. I'm definitely using it. But this is what after this phone has settled in for me as a user, that's a con for me. Now, let's move on. There's a lot of pros to this phone, and it's even harder for me to kind of settle in that these are going to be cons for me, like the size of the phone. But I offset that by, I just bought the smaller version of the same phone, and I'll have them both. Now, there's a lot of use case scenarios for this screen size for editing and creating content. Yeah, it's great. But the smaller size is a daily driver. So, maybe, and I guess the good thing is that if I want to rock the big version, I have it too. I have both versions. So, and then the battery life, that's not so much a con per se. I just think there's something going on with the Tensor chip, probably more than likely to make it, or just the way they have this optimized where you're not getting the full potential of the phone. So with this phone being loaded up the way it is, I'm excited for it. Now, I just talked about creating content and things like that. Another thing that I don't like about this phone is the auto bright system. Now I've talked about, because you can see right here, it's at 75%. It's on auto bright though. The adaptive brightness, when I turn that off, that means I have to manually adjust the screen. So if it's too dark in the room, I don't want the phone too bright, because 50% in a dark room is super bright. So you want the phone to be able to adjust itself and take care of itself and make sure it's at the right levels. But I've compared this phone extensively against other phones indoors, and Google's auto bright system is just not calibrated properly. It's just not done. I've done everything I can to get it calibrated properly. Remember the old trick where you could turn the lights all the way off and then, turn the screen on and you level it out. Well, this phone, even in brighter settings, sometimes it just goes really dark. And I find myself going in on the top, swiping it back up to at least 50%. I don't take it off of adaptive brightness because I want it to adjust on its own. But I think that's just a horrible thing to have to deal with when it comes to your screen when you're looking at it. I don't like that it's adjusting itself. Like even right there, you see how I did the screen to dark and it changed to 70% just a minute ago from 75. And then I put it back on bright and it went back to 73. It should be a lot, like, it's just not, at times when it should be bright, it's not bright. Yeah, that's just what it is. Sometimes in bright settings like this, it'll darken itself up. And I'm like, what the heck? I need to see you. I need to be able to see you in a brighter setting. So, but the plus side of this now, the plus side of this con or this rant that I'm doing on this video about this phone is that when it's in direct sunlight, it is beautiful. I just have problems with it adjusting itself indoors. That's it. I just have problems with itself adjusting. It doesn't adjust itself properly indoors. And that's a con for me. I don't want to go in and manually bring the phone screen back up in brightness when I have it on auto bright. So I really don't have too many things I can complain about this phone. But yeah, the battery life, I wish it was better because this is the XL version. And the auto brightness, I've actually talked about that in another video. So it shouldn't be a surprise to you to hear it in this one. And then, the size of the phone. The size of the phone isn't really a con. That's just more of I'm not going to daily drive this. I'm going to daily drive my Pro model. So that's a plus, I guess I should say, because I have the ability to swap between this version and the Pro model, which is the smaller variant of it. So I'm excited about that. But I think I'm kind of to the point where phones are like, I just looked at the Apple event. I'm like, really? Like, seriously? Like, I need someone to innovate because my channel started off predominantly all imports, and I think I might have to go back that way to get that excitement back that I felt when reviewing phones. I'm excited about reviewing phones, but it definitely has changed a lot over the years where it's like, I'm just kind of feel like I'm reviewing the same phone over and over and over again with these little tweaks that companies are doing. So yeah, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is a great phone. It's a great phone. No, there's no denying it. It's a hit. I like it. I like it a lot. But everything comes with some trade-offs. So it doesn't have the best battery life to support, like the way this phone is put together, the battery life definitely isn't up to my standards. Features and options, design, all those other things, great. I'm not having any issues with overheating either. So people keep asking this, and if I have a problem, I'll talk about it. But I'm not having a problem with overheating, with recording as well, because I've recorded 45 minutes on this phone, and it got a little warm, but it didn't overheat and shut off like my Sony joints. This phone right here, unfortunately, now it's just plagued with heating issues. I can't even charge this phone without getting the warning message. And this is such a great phone, man. Oh my God, it's so nice. Beautiful phone, beautiful cameras, well put together. But that heating issue now is starting to affect me a lot, and I don't like that. But the Google Pixel 9 XL, I'm glad that they brought this to the market because it basically just replaces the 9. It replaces the 8 Pro. It replaces this phone. But since they brought out a smaller variant, they had to label it XL. They could have labeled it Plus or whatever, but they chose XL. So that's why you see the XL naming on there. But Nonetheless, the 8 Pro is still a wonderful device to own. And, you know, the 9 Pro XL is great too. I think another thing that, and it's a small con, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a small one, but the back shaping of the 8 Pro feels better because it's curved on the back side. They both have a flat display, but the 8 Pro is curved on the back side. So that makes it feel a lot better for extended use and holding it in your hand. Yeah, it does. This one being flat all the way around is not as comfortable as the curved way this back part just tapers off all around. It just feels phenomenal. And the more and more I look at the 8 Pro, I realize how smooth and sleek and sexy this phone still is. And, you know, if you have an 8 Pro, you don't have to upgrade, but the 9 Pro technically outshines it in some areas. But, you know, is it enough for you to say I'm switching? Probably not to most people. But yeah, there it is, man. The Pixel 9 Pro XL, great phone with just a few things that I think could be better. The battery life could be better. You know, the design is fire. I really love the new camera module. Like everything about it. It's really good. Video capabilities. The video boost. Somebody asked me, why don't you use video boost? Video boosting takes a while to produce. Like, and I do long videos when I'm recording sometimes, and you have to wait for it to process. And I just think that's another thing that cool feature, but the video boost takes too long. And as soon as you start the video boost, it tells you this is going to take a long time to process. Like, it's corny. So I can go in the video, go down here and turn on video boost, and instant, it's already telling boosting video will take time. And I know this because I've done it before. It has to save it off and bring it. It's just corny. Like, give it a feature and make the feature work. It's like Apple telling you that all this stuff is going to happen on the phone, and then when you get the phone, those things aren't released until 6 months later. It's corny. It's real corny. So I don't have any performance issues, any heating issues, anything like that. The 9 Pro XL is a fire device, but in the end, I'm going to go with the more comfortable to hold 9 Pro. And I'll bring you content on that one. Stay locked. I also bought the Pixel Watch as well. I got both Pixel Watches, the 41 and the 45. Because I think I'm trying to separate myself from shopping at Best Buy because of how messy they were with the other orders that I did. Like, all of my orders got screwed up at Best Buy. And then also Google had a part in that too because they wasn't giving inventory, and I lost all of my promo. Everything. It's kind of a mess, but it's all good. So I basically just use up my cards and, you know, my remaining balances and stuff like that. So, and I have both versions of the watch. So I'm going to rock the 45 though regularly. And maybe I'll do a giveaway, try to put together a little bonus package or something. I used to do giveaways all the time on the channel, but it's a different playing field now. Consumers have access to all the stuff I have access to, and at a good price. And so, you know, a lot of you guys are on contracts with carriers, and you have access to these things, and so you can get them. So I'm skeptical about doing giveaways now, current day, but maybe I need to switch back to doing my imports because they were exciting. I think imports are way more exciting now than what's going on in the U.S. Market for cell phones. And the U.S. market doesn't have to plateau, but I think OEMs are just slacking off. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay locked for more Google content, man. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.